Hey guys, Ash here again at Flight Sim Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at the PMDG 737 NGX for FSX and the documentation that comes with this fine aircraft. As is typical, it's installed to the root directory of FSX in the PMDG folder, and all the documents and materials that are included with this aircraft are in PDF format. So let's get started. The first document they give you here is a introduction manual, and it's just going to basically explain who coded the aircraft, the fact it's Boeing licensed, how to install it, how to report any errors, that sort of thing. And then it's going to go ahead and move on into setting up FSX so that it looks the best that it can, so that the high resolution textures that they've included in this package show up properly for your configuration in your FSX. And also it goes a little bit in detail of setting up your realism settings to make sure that you're getting all the realism and accuracy that PMDG has strived to put into this product. Then it goes more deep into setting up the controls for your simulator. If you have a sim pit or a special throttle quadrant, yoke, etc., it goes into detail on how to properly set that up for your machine. That is pretty much it for the introduction. It's just a really nice in-depth piece to get you started and get it installed for you. The next thing in the file here is the tutorial done by Ryan from PMDG, and I want to say it's a really great tutorial, and I don't think PMDG watches my channel, but if they do, thank you, Ryan. This certainly saved me quite a bit of time, even though I'd flown the plane previously. The new FSX model of the 737 is just that much better and a little more complicated, or quite a bit more complicated in the systems modeling than the old PMDG offering. So this was really a great guide, even if you're just a new guy who's looking at getting a airliner that's more of a deep study sim. This will get you off the ground for sure. You're not going to have a hard time with this at all. You know, it really goes into everything from, you know, how to set up the FMC and program your waypoints, your route, how to use the scratch pad in the FMC, programming your fuel, waypoints, and later in the presentation they even go through flying the route and how it's going to play out as you run the MCP and set your allowed altitudes, etc. It's just a really, really great tutorial to get you off the ground and started with the flight sim. I noticed I had a question in my comments. Someone said, where is the TCAS system, traffic collision avoidance? It's right here on the transponder. So you have standby, altitude reporting, transponder, TA only, and then TARA modes, which are standard. So anyways, there it is. If you guys have any questions, I just want you to know you can always email me or text the channel. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Moving on, we have, of course, the FCOM manuals for the 737. Of course, it's going to just go into operations and standard procedures with the 737 NGX series. Just a lot of it is drawn right out of Boeing's own manuals. You'll notice that if you own a PMDG product or if you purchase this one, this is 90% of it's ripped right out of Boeing's real manuals. The only thing PMDG really protects is the security features of aircraft to keep the flight crew safe, and that's obviously something they're not going to put in there for obvious reasons. So that being said, you know, we have field limit weights at 10,000 pressure altitude corrected, slope corrections, wind corrections. I mean, every table and chart diagram you could want for the aircraft's included in this FCOM. And here's the other half of it that's in the manual section. There's just a lot here. I mean, from showing you the air conditioning distribution schematic to if you're into engineering or the minutia kind of how these aircraft work and how the systems and the pneumatics work in them, it's really an exciting thing to read through. Next is obviously the flight crew training manual, and looks like it was pulled directly from Boeing, as it is holding the names of their chief pilots, chief flight trainers, and the FAA's own principal operations inspector. It's basically going to go through all kinds of just overall training for this type of aircraft. Obviously, pilots are pilots, and ATPs usually long before they touch the controls of something this large. But of course, every aircraft is unique, and you will have to be familiarized and orientated to fly this aircraft. This is just one of those tools that the airlines will use. And of course, we have a quick reference handbook for emergencies and standard procedures. If you had a turbine fail, or a fire, or gear failure, anything, pneumatic system failure, this is just literally step by step how you would deal with each of those events and properly, and get back down on the ground safely. One last thing I wanted to show you guys, since we've completed what they've given you in the documentation, is the livery manager. And PMDG has taken it upon themselves to build a full-fledged livery manager for the 737NGX, which is just a great feature. Before, you had to take individual EXEs that you would download and install each one specifically for the skin. Now all you have to do is, on the left box, select which skin you're installing for which variant of the aircraft. Go ahead and hit select livery to install, and then hit OK if this was you doing it, and it will go ahead and install that paint job for your aircraft in FSX, and you're done. There's no EXEs to run or keep track of or keep launching, etc. It's just real simple. You download very small files, they're about 15-16 megabytes per skin, and it's just really easy. It's also easy. You can go right here and remove any of them you have installed. Sometimes guys will update them to a more current version, or fix maybe where they missed a little bit of texture, and you just would hit remove and it'll pull it right out of the sim just as easy as it put it in. So really nice tool there. Thank you, PMDG, for including that. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that it gave you a good look at the documentation that came with this aircraft. I'm glad to have my new mic, and I'm glad I'm able to do some more videos for you guys. Thanks for staying tuned. Feel free to leave comments in my box, or email me if you have any questions about anything we've covered here. Again, I'll do my best to answer that, and I hope you stay tuned for more flight sim reviews. Thanks again, guys.